Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Strege, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
I'm setting the example. And what I've done is going to be puzzled over and studied and followed forever.
Yeah. Delusions of grandeur. You're no messiah. You're a movie of the week. You're a fucking t-shirt at best.
Luke's crazy. He can't even take care of himself, much less rescue anybody.
A Jedi Knight.
I'm out of it for a little while. Everybody gets delusions of grandeur.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Did you miss me? I guess not.
What's in my room? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting episode of What's in My Room. So these videos that I do are of anything that I pick up within my collection, whether it be games, movies, things that I think that are collectible, and any of my strange thoughts, honestly. So I have some more Dollar Tree pickups that I'd like to show. One of the first being, this is a Shout Factory release that I picked up from Dollar Tree. It's called Maya and the White Lion, and it looks like it's directed by Giles de Maestier, and it says Maya is a willful young girl whose life is turned upside down when her family decides to leave London to manage a lion farm in South Africa. But when a beautiful white lion, Charlie, is born, Maya finds happiness once again and develops a special bond with the cub. As Charlie grows to full size, Maya uncovers an upsetting secret and feels she must protect him. The two friends set out on an incredible journey across South African savannah in search of a sanctuary where Charlie can live out his life in freedom. So this looks like it's going to be a family movie, but it also might actually have some cool scenery of Africa or something like that. Definitely looking forward to checking that out. Oops, some of my new releases fell. Next, I have a horror film called Let's Scare Julie, with a tagline that says, "Sometimes a prank comes back to kill you." Starring Brooke Sorensen, Isabel May, Jessica Sarah Flan, Troy Leigh Ann Johnson, and Odessa A. Zion. It's written and directed by Judd Cremata, and it's also a Shout Factory release. Next, this is one of the MGM movies that showed up at Dollar Tree. I've not seen it. It's got Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez in it. It's called Men at Work. And it is written and directed by Emilio Estevez. It's up to a pair of trash-hauling heroes to clean up the city in this action comedy starring real-life brothers Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, with hilarious supporting performances and an all-star soundtrack. Men at Work is an engaging, comically crackpot adventure that has the very few moments when it's not engaging laughs, says a Los Angeles Times and the New York Times. So, looking forward to checking this out. Next, I have a movie that MGM had apparently acquired. I know it's an independent movie, but it's got Ryan Gosling, Emily Mortimer, Paul Schneider, Kelly Garner, Patricia Clarkson, and it's called Lars and the Real Girl. It's directed by Craig Gillespie. Sometimes you find love where you least expect it. Just ask Lars. A sweet but quirky guy who thinks he's found the girl of his dreams in a life-size doll named Bianca. Lars is completely content with his artificial girlfriend, but when he develops feelings for Margot, an attractive coworker, Lars finds himself lost in a hilarious, unique love triangle, hoping to somehow discover the real meaning of true love. You'll be swept off your feet by Lars and the Real Girl. Hailed as one of the year's 10 best by the Associated Press. So, I've not seen this before. Definitely looking forward to checking it out. And let's see what I have next. So next I have from Dollar Tree. This is another MGM pickup called Pieces of April. It looks like it's got Katie Holmes, Patricia Clarkson, Derek Luke with Sean Hayes and Oliver Platt in it. It is directed by Peter Hughes, or Hedges. Katie Holmes is terrific. Okay. That's all the People magazine crap. Rebellious daughter April Burns, played by Holmes, has offered to host an elaborate holiday dinner for her suburban clan in her New York apartment. But her attempts to create an unforgettable feast go awry when she discovers her oven doesn't work. Now, as her weary family makes its way to the city, April must rely on the kindness of strangers to pull off the perfect meal and the perfect memory. So here I have Pieces of April. Definitely going to be checking that out eventually. Next, I have also one of the MGM releases that showed up at Dollar Tree. Tom Berenger in One Man's Hero. It says, a story of faith, devotion, and a fight for freedom. It's directed by Lance Houle. And it says, when a small group of Irish soldiers fighting for the U.S. during the Mexican-American War are treated harshly for their religious convictions, fellow compatriot and career soldier Sergeant John Riley, played by Berenger, takes up their cause and leads them in a desperate escape across the border into the enemy territory of Mexico. Now they must convince a Mexican rebel leader, played by De Almeida, to let them fight against the U.S. so they can protect their beliefs and save their lives from the punishment for treason. Here I have One Man's Hero. Haven't seen it yet, but definitely looks entertaining. Okay, next I have movie 43, which apparently we have Elizabeth Banks, Kristen Bell, Halle Berry, Kate Bosworth, Gerard Butler, Bobby Cannavale, Josh Duhamel, Anna Faris, Richard Gere, Terrence Howard, Hugh Jackman, Johnny Knoxville, Justin Long, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Chloe Grace Moretz, Liev Schreiber, Sean William Scott, Emma Stone, Naomi Watts, and Kate Winslet in. It says the year's most outrageous and daring original comedy featuring the ultimate star-studded cast. No inappropriate storyline is off limits, including a ballsy blind date, a middle school period piece, and more. Please don't sue us if you don't die laughing. So here we have movie 43. Gonna check that out eventually. I like my comedy. This is another MGM release that showed up in Dollar Tree. Haven't seen it yet. It says things you can tell just by looking at her. It stars Glenn Close, Cameron Diaz, Callista Flockhart, Amy Brenneman, and Holly Hunter. It is directed by Rodrigo Garcia. And it says here, in the heart of LA, 6 extraordinary women have come to an emotional crossroads. A talented young detective, played by Brenneman, struggles with loneliness. An ambitious bank manager, played by Holly Hunter, contemplates motherhood, and a successful doctor, played by Glenn Close, confronts her spiritual emptiness. At the same time, a blind teacher, played by Diaz, searches for love. A middle-aged writer, played by Baker, grapples with prejudice, and a gifted fortune teller, played by Flockhart, grieves for her dying lover. Poised between fear and hope, each woman must weigh the choices she's made in order to meet the future unfolding before her. So here I have things you can tell just by looking at her. Sounds interesting. Next, I have Mia Farrow, Jeff Daniels, and Danny Aiello in The Purple Rose of Cairo. This is a Woody Allen film. Lonely Depression-era waitress Cecilia is hopelessly addicted to Hollywood movies. Spellbound by her new favorite, The Purple Rose of Cairo, Cecilia is astonished when the leading man, Daniels, suddenly walks off the screen and meets her. Wooed by his charm, Cecilia finds herself falling for him until she meets the real actor who plays him. Romanced by both a fictional character and a famous star, Cecilia struggles to locate the shifting line between fantasy and reality, only to discover that sometimes it's just a heartbeat away. So here we have The Purple Rose of Cairo, which I have not seen many of Woody Allen's films, and I know he's kind of controversial at this moment, but I have seen The Money Can Run, or whatever. Take Two, The Money Can Run. That's the only one that I remember seeing, and I remember seeing bits and pieces of some of his films over time. Here is another Woody Allen film starring Woody Allen and Mia Farrow. and it's called Zelig, Zelig, Zelig. It showed up at Dollar Tree. It's an MGM release. Leonard Zelig, played by Alan, is a social quick change artist whose neurotic insecurity forces him to mimic, mentally and physically, whomever he's with. Treated by Dr. Eudora Fletcher, played by Pharaoh, Zelig is slowly cured and in the process goes from sideshow freak to national celebrity to Eudora's fiancé. But when misdeeds from Zelig's multiple personality past start to surface, larceny, bigamy, and an unauthorized appendectomy, the human chameleon is on the run again, and Eudora must search the world over to find and save the only man who's every man she's ever wanted. So here I have Zelig, Zelig, Zelig. Next, I think this is kind of a Western that is based on a true story of Frank Shankwitz, a founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It stars Andrew Steele, Kirby Bliss Blanton, with Bruce Davison and Danny Trejo. It is called Wishman. It says everyone can be a hero. Frank Shankwitz, an Arizona motorcycle cop with a troubled past, survives a near-fatal accident during a high-speed pursuit. As part of Frank's rehabilitation, Police Sergeant Eddie Newman, played by Robert Pine, asks him to spend time with a terminally ill little boy, Michael, played by Christian Gagne, whose dying wish is to be a highway patrol motorcycle officer. To Michael, Frank is a hero and an unlikely friendship is born. The boy inspires him to follow a new path, which leads to Frank falling in love with police secretary Kitty Carlisle, played by Kirby Bliss Blanton, and to being reunited with his long-lost father, Frank Sr., played by Bruce Davison, whom he was separated from as a child by his mother, Faye Masterson. Remembering the small acts of kindness he received as a child by the good-hearted employer, Stephen Michael Quezada, and the unconditional love of his father, Frank is inspired to pay it forward by creating the Make-A-Wish Foundation. One boy's wish changed a man. One man's wish changed the world. Based on the true story of Frank Shankwitz. Definitely sounds interesting. I mean, I know the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I remember Oprah being partially on it. But here I have Zach Galifianakis in a film called Visioneers. Office Space meets Brazil in this offbeat comedy. It looks like it's directed by W. Jared Drake, or something Jared Drake, or just Jared Drake. And this is with Viva Pictures. Looks like it's won a bunch of festivals. Actor-comedian Zach Galifianakis, The Hangover Part 2, due date, stars in this outrageous comedy from director Jared Drake. George is stuck in a bleary job working as a mid-level manager in the surreal Jeffers Corporation. After employees begin spontaneously exploding as a result of their uneventful lives, George's doctor warns him that if he doesn't get out of his rut, he could be the next to go. As his coworkers continue to detonate, George is forced to reevaluate his mundane existence before he blows up, literally. Judy Greer, from Arrested Development, and indie favorite James LaGrosse co-star in the movie critics called a cross between Office Space and Napoleon Dynamite. Not sure if that's really anything, because I was not a fan of Napoleon Dynamite. And no offense, anyone who actually likes it, I don't really fully trust. And it's amusing that I said that because, well, this one says, trust no one. And it has a tagline of, you can't hide from the truth. And Douglas Rouillard is the leading actor in this film. It's directed by Darren Memero. It says, on December 31st, 1999, with the year 2000 approaching, the world's security systems were on the brink of total collapse, known as the Y2K scare. The United States government took precautions by backing up top secret files on 2 drives, from U.S. Treasury records to military plans. These drives were to be guarded by the CIA, NSA, as well as the President. The loss of any of these files could be devastating to United States national security. 10 years later, a small-town cop investigating a series of murders he believes to be the work of a serial killer quickly learns it's much bigger. One of the drives has gone missing, and someone is willing to kill to get it back. With the body count rising and nothing adding up, he turns to his last resort for help, his estranged brother. So here I have Trust No One. Going to check that out eventually. Looks like it might be entertaining. Next, you know what? I picked up True Heart twice. That's okay. I know who to send that off to. Next, I have Jumbo, an animated feature. Looks like it might be fun. Looks like it's directed by James Snyder. It says Jumbo the elephant trains over time for the annual spelling bee until resident bad guy Mr. Hollis curses Jumbo and causes him to completely lose his memory. Will Jumbo again regain his memory in time for the spelling bee? Get yourself a ticket to the fair and step right up and find out what happens. Here I have Jumbo. Put that way before everything else. Next, I was kind of surprised that I came across this movie. But this has Julie Andrews, Max von Sydow, and Richard Harris in Hawaii. If I remember correctly, Hawaii is based on James Michener's Hawaii. And it is directed by, I think, George Roy Hill. And this is a Walter Marish production. 2 cultures collide in this vast, lavish, and truly spectacular film, starring Julie Andrews, Max von Sydow, Richard Harris, Gene Hackman, and Carol O'Connor. Adapted from James A. Michener's Pulitzer Prize-winning novel and nominated for 7 Oscars, this majestic, gorgeously framed epic is an adventuresome picture making, a credit to the industry. They came to bring God, but instead brought disease and destruction. The Reverend Abner Hale von Snido and his gentle wife, Jerusa Andrews, attempt to convert early 19th century Hawaiian natives to Christianity, but find themselves ill-equipped to endure the unexpected tribulations of paradise. Surging with the excitement of windstorms, firestorms, shark attacks, and magnificent island scenery, Hawaii shines as passionately as the island paradise itself. So, looking forward to rechecking this out. I know I really liked reading some of James Michener's stuff. He's very unique. Next, I did pick up Heart's War with Bruce Willis and Colin Farrell. I guess that was an MGM release. It's directed by Gregory Hoblit. And I'm definitely looking forward to rechecking this movie out. I remember seeing it. I just need to commit to actually watching it. Next, I have... I don't know why I picked this up, but it might be entertaining in some way, shape, or form. Corner Gas, the movie, on Blu-ray. It's an extended feature film from the hit CTV series. Dog River has always been flat, but now it's flat broke. And I'm not sure I know the series. So the original cast of Canada's all-time favorite sitcom reunites just in time to save their hometown of Dog River, Saskatchewan, in their hilarious first theatrical feature. Brent and the gang discover that the town's finances have been... And I've got to open this up. God damn it. Sorry, folks. It's really difficult to open these sometimes. Especially the Blu-rays. Okay. There we go. Have been badly mismanaged, leaving the townsfolk with little choice but to pack up and leave. As the locals make one last rally to save their village as they know it, the crusading cast discover a devious plan that may change life for Dog Riverites forever. So there I have Corner Gas, the movie. Not sure if I have ever seen the show, but maybe I'll have to track it down now that I have the movie. So here I have Rob Lowe and James Spader in Bad Influence. This is an MGM release, I guess. It's directed by Curtis Hanson. Going to be checking that out eventually. Let me put this in the bees. Next, I have Autumn in New York, an earlier Richard Gere and Winona Ryder feature. Also an MGM release, and it's directed by Joan Chen. At 48 years old, Manhattan restaurateur Will Keane, played by Gere, is a handsome, successful single and determined to keep it that way. A consummate playboy who's perfected the art of casual romance Will adores women but has never thought seriously about marriage or commitment until he meets Charlotte Fielding, played by Ryder. Charming, vivacious, and radiantly beautiful, Charlotte is unlike anyone Will's ever known before, and as their relationship blossoms from a heated one-night stand into something rare and wonderful, they both realize that this love will last a lifetime. But for Charlotte, a lifetime may be much shorter than either of them are prepared to accept. So here I have Autumn in New York. Gonna check that out eventually. This one I was surprised that I came across in Dollar Tree. This one is called Two Graves in the Desert. And it stars William Baldwin and Michael Madsen, Yvonne Gonzalez, and Cassie Haworth. And it's directed by Benjamin Golabre. It has a tagline that says, "The Vegas Road Trip from Hell." What would you do if you woke up in the boot of a car, tied up and gagged? This looks funny as all hell. I'm going to check that out later. Maybe I'll check it out with Tammy. Next, I have an animated feature. It says, "Go Big or Go Gnome." It's called Elf Day. And this is directed by Reggie Daniels. Another holiday season is over and joy still blankets the land. But that is until Santa's beloved Christmas tree goes missing. Enter Bingle, Jingle, Tingle, Doorbell, and the Cheer, the elf, a detective agency to save the day. Elf Day. Might be cute, although the CGI looks pretty downright awful. But I'll still check it out. Next, I have a film called William the Conqueror. And this is directed by Fabian Drugian. Put out by Cinedigm and ITN Distribution. It is the year 1066. William, son of the late Duke of Normandy, embarks on a heroic quest to invade in medieval England and seize power from the rebel traders, claiming heir to his throne. A bloody battle ensues as William, aided by his loyal men, fights tirelessly to fulfill his destiny and become the first Norman king of England. This is the legend of William the Conqueror. Okay. Gonna check that out eventually. Next, I have a film that has to do with war, I guess. It's called The Frozen Front. It has a tagline of "They faced an enemy they never saw coming." And it's written, produced, and directed by David Abaukea. In January 1945, the 1st French Regiment of Paratroopers, to fight with an American unit, prepares to liberate Alsace in France. Prisoners of the cold, snow, and harsh winter conditions, the Allied division must take the forest bordering the town of Jebshim several days before the attack. Pounded by German forces, the French and American soldiers experienced the violence of war in their struggle for freedom and survival, even as they face a greater, more unexpected enemy. So here I have The Frozen Front. I'm going to have to check that out eventually. I haven't really seen too many war films as of late. And maybe it might be good. You never know. So this is called The Christmas Truce. I guess this is a Christmas movie of sorts, except it is also a romantic um, war film. This is directed by Brian Skiba of Rotten Tail fame. On Christmas Eve, U.S. soldier John Myers and his plantation of men become trapped behind enemy lines during the Battle of the Bulge and seek refuge in a young woman's cottage. Her name is Elena. Myers and Elena fall in love during a brief Christmas truce, called with a German platoon who was seeking medical services for their commandant's wife. However, the war is far from over, and when the truce ends, Myers and Elena make a pact to meet on Christmas Eve at a small chapel in her hometown after the war is over if they are both willing and able. So, yeah, sounds like it might be interesting or entertaining in some way, shape, or form. But you never know. So, let's see what's next. So next, I have a couple of screeners that I got from a good reviewing friend of mine. He ended up selling me them for a couple of bucks, but Arrow, evidently, if you get in with the right people at the right time, will actually send you factory-made discs before they go to the printing or whatnot for those to check out films before they come out. And this first one is Red Angel. It is a Japanese flick of some kind, but it is a pre-production disc. Apparently, my buddy also had the Dune Blu-ray and 4K release that was factory. It was pre-production before they send it to the printers. This is Dune, the Frank Herbert's Dune, the movie. So I thought that was kind of cool to be able to acquire, so that at least I have something before I actually maybe pick them up. I thought that was cool. Next, I have these are some films that I picked up from my good friend Dane, and so he had these for sale. He had 100 Acres of Hell, which is a independent film directed by Hank Leigh Hump, and it stars Gene Snitsky, Ernie O'Donnell, Jeff Swanton, and Jim Ruth. It looks kind of entertaining. It says, after suffering a career-ending injury and family tragedy, wrestling champ Buck Severs travels to an abandoned wildlife preserve with his friends for Bros Weekend. However, they soon become the targets of a deadly manhunt, and Buck must find the warrior in himself to fight the psycho inbred mutant killer that stalks through the preserve. So here I have 100 Acres of Hell. I'm going to stick that right there. Next, I have the out-of-print Amityville, The Awakening. I had actually seen this film before. I actually watched it with my fiance, Tammy, and it's directed by Frank Calhoun. So I'm curious to watch it again, just to Check it out one more time. And it's out of print for a reason, because people seem to like it. Next, I have a Nicolas Cage film starring beside Kelsey Grammer called Grand Isle. It was one of those that looked kind of weird coming out. It looks like this is directed by Stephen Champanelli. Walter, Nicolas Cage, and his neglected wife lure a young man into their Victorian home to escape a hurricane. When the man is charged with murder by Detective Jones, Kelsey Grammer, he must reveal the couple's wicked secrets to save himself. Sounds entertaining enough. Next, I have another Nicolas Cage film from Dane. Nicolas Cage, Wendy Lyndon Covey, and Russell Brand. In a film by Larry Charles, the director of Borat. And this is called Army of One. It's a screenplay by Rajiv Joseph and Scott Rothman. And I guess this says it's one man's wildly true quest to capture Osama bin Laden. Gonna check that one out eventually. Next, I have a Japanese film from the director of The Thieves called Assassination, which it looks like it's a little bit noirish. Put out by Well Go USA Entertainment, and it looks like it's directed by Choi Dong-hoon. Snipers, marksmen, hired guns, double agents, a group of exiled rebels are planning to hit on an army commander in Japanese-occupied Korea, but the only killer for the job is in prison. Now the resistance must devise a jailbreak, escape a hitman, and discover which one of them is a traitor. So I'm curious about that one. All right, so this one is a more recent pickup. I missed out on the opportunity of getting a copy of the DVD when they were being sold, but I did pick up a Blu-ray with evidently a director's cut copy and an extended XXX666 cut of this film, and it's called Amidable Vibrator, and it says fully charged edition. For God's sake, get off. Incredibly lazy, gory, funny, and a blasphemous beast of a movie, says SOVHorror.com. And it's written and directed by Nathan Rumler. And I guess Mac Brewer of Horror Society says, more nudity than you can shake your dick at. Kathy moves into a new home and soon comes into contact with a vibrator that has ancient evil powers. It's up to the two researchers to locate the possessed item before Kathy and anyone else she encounters becomes a sex slave for Satan. Featuring tons of explicit nudity, extreme gore, real drug use, and enough blasphemy to send any viewer straight to hell. Amidable Vibrator is absolutely not for those who are easily offended. Featuring porn queen Mallory Maneater. Amidable Vibrator. From what I hear, it is an interesting movie. That's to say the least. Next, this is Also, a recent mail item from my good friend Septum Sin versus the World. So shout out to him. We not too long ago had a discussion on this film, and I realized I didn't have a copy of the film, and I really, really liked it. It's called The Grand Budapest Hotel, and this is a Wes Anderson film, so it wasn't my first time checking out Wes Anderson, but I really loved it. It was one of the ones that I truly wanted in my collection, and Brandon just so happened to have a copy, and I was ecstatic. So thank you, Brandon. Next, I ended up picking this up from Dare Cryptaxis of the Crypt of Horror, otherwise known as Dustin. So this is a out-of-print copy of Terra Train on Blu-ray. It's a Scorpion release film, so no UPC code or anything like that, but I'm expecting to check this out eventually. It should be entertaining to see it again. Next, I have two independent films. One of them I actually did produce behind. I ended up producing Dark Zone 13 Part 2. It reveals more odd tales from the infamous unpublished 13th issue of a fictional lost pulp magazine. Surreal science fiction weaves through strange horror brewed in buckets of blood, plus an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's Cool Air. In Dark Zone 13 Part 2, these are directed by Joe Sherlock from out in Oregon. So, hello, Joe. And his company, Skullface Astronaut, distributed them, just like this anthology, which is called Channel 99. We've got it. This anthology has Twisted Fates, Scratch, Escape from Ape World, Housewarming, A Day at the Park, Dinner with Mr. Birch, Dark Night of Invader 12, Greg, Private Livestream, Link Masters the Movie, and Pickman's Model. So, some Edgar Allan Poe like titles amongst these anthologies. I'm going to check these out eventually when I get a chance. Let's see. And take that, put that there, put this there, and put this there. Take and put these up like that. Sorry. Gotta arrange these to suit the fancy. Okay, and then stick those right there. Okay, so next I have Mo to thank for these. Oh, not this. My good old buddy Mo. Mo, thank you. I'm so glad to have a copy of Hanzo the Razor. This is the first in a trilogy with Shantaro Katsu, Yukaji Asaoka, and Mari Atsumi. This is from the director of Lone Wolf and Cub. And Thanks to Mo, I've been Seavaged once again. Chris Seaver has been putting out quite the boatload of Blu-rays lately. First of all, he's got the Stoinky Saga. And in here on the Stoinky Saga, he's got Stoinky Beach, a Stoink Mare Before Christmas, and a Stoink Mare on Halloween Street. From 1986, 1987, and from 2016. Next, we have Happy Holidays and Dingleberries on Blu-ray from 1987 and 1988. Next, we have Chris Seaver's version of Evil Knight. It's based on the classic 1992 shot on a VHS horror film by director Todd Jason Cook. And I also have Death o' Lantern 1 and 2 on Blu-ray, and Death o' Lantern the Remake on Blu-ray. So thank you so much for sending these to me. We had such a blast interviewing Chris about every single one of his releases. It was a fantastic interview, and I am just glad that it was able to like bring us together, and I was able to get, you know, some of the ones that I did not have, thanks to Mo. So I will forever be indebted to you for doing that for me. That brings a tear to my eye. But in any case, next I have some new added stuff. One thing that I'll be adding to my Things collection, called Things 666. This one is directed by Joe Sherlock. Going to be checking that out eventually. It's part of the Things collection. Then I've got 3 films to add to the Axegrinder collection. So I've got Axegrinder 3, which this one is directed by Joe Sherlock and Joseph Vogel. And then we've got Axegrinder 4 and Axegrinder 5. Axegrinder 4 is directed by Dennis Levine, and so is 5. 4 and 5 are directed by Dennis Levine. So those are pretty cool that they were directed by him, and I have not seen them yet. Looking forward to checking them out. And also, I couldn't wait. I had to make sure that I had the money for these, but I had Alligator and Alligator 2 from Shout Factory sent from Amazon, and I was ecstatic that it came with the slipcover. It's the 4K Blu-ray edition of Alligator and Alligator 2: The Mutation. So it's pretty cool to see them on something like this. Pretty cool artwork, and I loved those movies. And then from Menards, I picked up this 90s Kid Star collection. On here, I've got My Girl 2, Wild America, Radio Flyer, North, and Troop Beverly Hills. So that is from Menards. And I think that will conclude this the videos for this particular upload. But hopefully you've enjoyed checking out some of the things that I've picked up. Some of them I haven't read, but I want to leave some of it up to the imagination so that maybe you can let me know down in the comments. Maybe if you want to know what it's about, you can let me know. Or you can pick it up and let me know whether you enjoyed the film yourself down the road. I know that I eventually tend to watch these films either on my own or with my fiance. Oftentimes, when it's the independent films, it tends to be me on my own. But then I try to go on and express what I felt and be honest. So, in any case, like, share, and subscribe, and hopefully you'll be on with me next week, or at least next time, so that I can show you some more goodies. Have a good evening.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?